They confessed their love for you in public, and you won't believe what they said. My beloved soul, there are days in a human life that slip by quietly, blending into all the others. And then there are days when something invisible turns, when a silent gear inside destiny finally clicks into place, and nothing is ever the same again. Today, I am here to tell you that such a moment has unfolded in your story. You did not plan it. You did not see it coming. You did not stand there to witness it with your own physical eyes. And yet, your name, your energy, your very essence stood in the center of a sacred moment you did not know was happening. Because someone, yes, someone you know, someone whose path has crossed yours more than once, someone whose gaze has lingered on you a little longer than you realized, someone whose heart has secretly been carrying your name like a gentle whisper. That person did something they never thought they would have the courage to do. They confessed their love for you. Not in a late-night text. Not in a hidden chat. Not in a private corner where the world could not hear. They confessed in public. In front of others. In a space where voices echo and glances collide. A space where reputations can be shaped, where vulnerability feels dangerous, where truth can feel too raw. And still, they chose, or rather, destiny chose through them, to speak. To reveal. To surrender. My beloved soul, listen not just with your ears, but with the deepest place in your heart. Because what they said was not an ordinary confession. It was not a shallow, "I like them," tossed out for attention. It was a pouring, a spilling, a release of a love that had been building inside them quietly, patiently, relentlessly. The universe is guiding this message to you now because you are meant to know. You are meant to understand the depth of what took place, the reason it happened, the energy it carries toward you, and the way this moment will shape the chapters ahead. This confession is not random. It is not an accident. It is not a moment born from impulse alone. It is destiny, finally speaking out loud through a human heart that has been trembling with unsaid feelings for far too long. Let me take you there. Close your eyes in your mind and step into that day. It did not begin dramatically. The sky did not split open. The earth did not shake. In fact, from the outside, it looked like any ordinary gathering, any normal moment among people. There was laughter. There were casual conversations. There was lightness, the kind that floats on the surface of human interaction while deeper tides move silently underneath. Among those people was your person. The one whose heart has been secretly echoing your name. They did not wake up that morning saying, "Today is the day I will confess." No. In their mind, they were still waiting. Still hesitating. Still telling themselves, they deserve someone better, maybe they don't feel the same, maybe it's safer to stay silent. But underneath those fears, love was growing. They carried you with them in the smallest details. In the song that reminded them of your energy. In the way they paused when your name appeared on a screen. In the way they smiled inwardly remembering something you once said, or the way you once looked at them, or simply the way you exist. You may not realize how much space you occupy in their internal world. They have replayed conversations with you in their mind. They have imagined futures where your paths are more intertwined. They have stared at their phone wanting to type the truth and then backspacing, again and again, because fear sat on their fingers, heavy. They thought they had more time. They thought they could wait until they felt ready, until they had the right words, until circumstances aligned in picture-perfect timing. But destiny rarely waits for what humans call perfect. Destiny moves in strange, subtle ways. It builds quiet pressure. It stirs the heart slowly. It brings a moment to a boiling point where truth cannot be held back without hurting the soul that carries it. And that is exactly what happened. In that gathering, in that place where people had come together, not a giant crowd, but not an intimate pair either, someone mentioned you. Your name, like a soft spark, landed in the air. A question was asked lightly, perhaps with curiosity, perhaps with teasing, perhaps with casual intention. Do you still talk to them, or what's going on between you two, or you really care about them, don't you? Your person froze for a second inside. Every heartbeat grew louder. Every memory of you seemed to rush forward at once. They had answered these questions before with half-truths. Yeah, they're cool. We're just friends. They're nice. But this time, something in them was tired of pretending. Something in them was done with the weight of silence. Something in them whispered, if I don't say it now, will I ever? They drew in a breath. They spoke your name, and there was a softness, a reverence in the way it left their lips that did not go unnoticed. Eyes turned toward them. A small hush fell across that pocket of space. They could have laughed it off. They could have changed the subject. They could have done what they had always done, hide. But love had reached a threshold inside them. And then, the words came. I love them. Not whispered. Not swallowed. Not coded in jokes. Clear. Honest. Trembling. I really love them. More than I've ever loved anyone. The moment those words left their mouth, the energy shifted. The air thickened with meaning. Everyone around them felt it, that this was not a casual crush, not a passing phase, not a fleeting spark. This was something deeper. You need to understand this, beloved soul, for a person like them, saying these words out loud, in front of others, is terrifying. Their hands may have shaken. Their throat may have gone dry. Their pulse may have been drumming in their ears. But they kept going. Because once the dam of silence broke, the river of truth could not be forced back. You don't understand, they continued, voice softer but truer. They are the person I pray for. The person that makes me want to become better. They're the reason I believe in hope again. And there it was. Not just, I love them. But, I pray for them. I want to become better because of them. I feel hope when I think of them. These are not the words of someone who is bored and lonely. These are the words of a heart that has been quietly transformed. Silence spread like a slow wave. Some people there smiled, a little stunned, a little moved, recognizing the courage shining in front of them. Others felt a strange knot in their chest, a recognition of longing in their own hearts, seeing what it looks like when love stops hiding. Some had suspected something all along. They had watched the way your person's eyes softened whenever your name came up. They had noticed the way conversation shifted when you were mentioned, the almost unconscious brightness that lit their face. They might have publicly teased them before. But in that moment, no one mocked them. Because the energy was different. Sacred. Raw. Undeniable. Anyone can claim love. Very few can reveal it like this. Very few can let their heart stand naked in the open and say, "This is how deeply I feel, even if it costs me my comfort, even if it risks my pride, even if I don't know how it will end." This was not infatuation. This was not a love story invented overnight. This was love that had taken root in their soul, watered by small moments, by your kindness, by your strength, by your existence. They had watched you in ways you never saw. Watched your resilience when life tried to break you. Watched your tenderness when others were hurting. Watched your spirit push forward even when you were exhausted. Maybe it was your laughter that first drew them in. Maybe it was the pain they sensed behind your eyes and the way you still chose to show up. Maybe it was the way you speak, the way you carry yourself, the way you choose love and honesty in a world that often promotes the opposite. Whatever it was, little pieces of you became light inside their darkness. And over time, those pieces formed a constellation they could not ignore. My beloved soul, destiny wants you to truly hear this. Their confession did not arise out of nowhere. It is the result of countless unseen moments where your spirit touched theirs. Just by being you. Just by existing as you are. Now, you might wonder, if they have loved me for so long, why did they not tell me directly? Why now? Why like this? Because fear is strong. Because feelings this deep can feel dangerous when your heart has been broken before. Because they held a belief, quietly poisoning their courage, that perhaps you were too good, too bright, too beautiful inside for them. They questioned their worth. They questioned what they could offer you. They told themselves, "I should wait until I'm more stable, more successful, more healed." But destiny had other plans. Destiny could no longer allow this love to remain locked inside, unspoken, suffocating their spirit. So it orchestrated a moment when the question of you would rise in a space where hiding would hurt more than truth. Where their heart would be cornered by honesty. Where speaking would feel like the only way to breathe. And so they did. But my beloved soul, the most unbelievable part is still to come. Because after saying, "I love them. They're the one I pray for," they added something that took every person there by surprise, and would take you by surprise, too. They said, with eyes lowered but soul wide open, "I know they might not feel the same. I know maybe I'm not what they want. I know I still have growing to do. But I would rather speak my truth than spend the rest of my life wondering what would have happened if I never said it." Do you feel the depth of that? There was no entitlement in their voice. No, they owe me their love now. No, they have to choose me because I feel this way. There was only surrender. Only truth. Only a desire to live honestly. They did not confess to trap you. They did not confess to claim you like a possession. They did not confess to win points or sympathy. They confessed because silence had become a wound. Because unspoken love had turned into a heavy stone lodged in their chest. Because the idea of dying with those words still inside them terrified them more than the possibility of rejection. My beloved soul, somewhere in that moment, as others watched, the universe itself leaned in a little closer. Because this is what real courage looks like. Not the absence of fear, but the decision to speak despite it. After the confession, after the trembling air began to settle, something quietly profound happened. They felt lighter. Not instantly calm, not without any nervousness, but lighter. As if a locked door inside their heart finally creaked open. As if the sky within them, long overcast with what-ifs, began to show a patch of blue. People began to move again. Someone gently placed a hand on their shoulder and said, "I always knew there was something different in the way you talked about them." Another person, eyes soft, whispered, "That was brave. You really love them, huh?" Someone else, half smiling, half in awe, commented, "You don't hear people speak like that every day. They must be really special." But even as voices buzzed around them, your person was drifting inward. They were not thinking about what others would gossip about later. They were not obsessing over who would tell who. They were thinking of you. Of your face. Of your voice. Of the way you tilt your head when you're truly listening. Of the way you laugh when something genuinely amuses you. Of the way you carry your scars without letting them define you. And suddenly, the crowd felt too loud, the room too small for the size of what they had just expressed. So they stepped away. They found a corner, a hallway, a bench, a quiet space away from eyes and chatter. Their hands were still shaking. Their heart was still racing. They pressed a hand over their chest as if trying to hold it together, and under their breath, they whispered, "I hope they understand. I hope they don't feel pressured. I hope they know. I said it because it's the truth, not because I expect anything. Destiny needs you to feel that. Because that is love that honors your freedom. Love that chooses your comfort even while it stands there trembling in its own truth. They are not looking to cage you. They are not trying to demand a response. They are simply tired of lying to themselves. In that quiet place, alone with their emotions, they did not crumble into regret. They did not curse themselves. They did not wish to rewind time and erase the moment. Instead, they exhaled. Long, shaky. Relieved. As scared as I am, they thought, at least my heart is honest now. And with that honesty came something unexpected, peace. A soft, unusual calm began to spread through them. Because when the heart finally speaks its truth, there is a kind of alignment that follows, regardless of the outcome. Later that day, when they were finally alone, maybe in their room, maybe on a bus ride home, maybe under a night sky that seemed to listen more than people ever did, their mind returned to you over and over. They lay awake longer than usual. Not with torment. With awareness. With a mixture of relief, vulnerability, and strangely, gratitude. Because the more they thought about it, the more they realized, their love was never about owning you. It was about appreciating you. Honoring you. being grateful that, in a world that had hardened parts of them, you appeared as a soft, luminous presence. And so, alone in the quiet, they whispered words you couldn't hear but that carried straight into the energetic field around you. I'm grateful they exist. Even if they never choose me. Even if we never happen the way I hope. I'm just grateful to have met them. My beloved soul, do you see the depth of this? This is not obsession. This is not ego trying to conquer. This is soul. This is heart. This is the kind of love that says, even if I don't get what I want, my life is still better because you are in it. Destiny now turns its gaze to you. Because while this moment gave them clarity, liberation, and a new chapter of growth, it is also a doorway for you. Whether you are aware of it already or not, this confession has started a ripple that is moving in your direction. Someone in that space knows you. Someone who was there, whose heart was moved by what they heard, carries a piece of this story like a sacred secret they're meant to share when the time is right. Maybe it's a mutual friend. Maybe it's someone you've only met once or twice. Maybe it's a person who has always watched your story quietly, never interfering, until now. At some point, in a message, in a conversation, in a casual moment that suddenly becomes significant, you'll hear something. It might sound like, you know. Someone said something about you the other day. Or, you won't believe what was confessed about you. Or, I don't know if anyone has told you this, but, someone really loves you deeply. In that instant, the energy shifts. Because you'll realize that your name is being spoken with tenderness in rooms you're not in. That your presence is prayed for by someone you maybe thought barely noticed you. That your existence is not as invisible as you sometimes believe. Between now and that revelation, the universe is preparing your heart. Because this isn't just about romance. This is about awakening something within you. You, who may have doubted your worth. You, who may have wondered if anyone could ever see you fully and still choose you. You, who may have convinced yourself that deep, honest love is for other people, not for you. This confession exists to shatter that lie. It exists to remind you, you are seen. You are felt. You are loved in ways you haven't even realized. Not for a mask you wear. Not for the version of you that conforms. But for your essence. Your soul. Your truth. Your light. Your complexity. When the message finally reaches you, directly or indirectly, you might react in different ways. Perhaps at first, you'll laugh awkwardly, trying to process it. Perhaps you'll feel a warmth spread through your chest, a strange softness that catches you off guard. Perhaps a part of you will say, no, that can't be true, because you're so used to downplaying your impact that deep love feels foreign. But something, deep down, will recognize the vibration of truth. You may feel suddenly very aware of your own feelings about this person. Perhaps you've always suspected something. Perhaps you've always felt a quiet pull towards them but never gave it words. Perhaps you have tried to push away your own emotions because the timing seemed off, or the situation seemed complicated. Whatever your story has been, this confession is like a mirror. It doesn't force you. It doesn't demand that you move faster than you're ready for. It simply asks, What is your heart really feeling? You might find your thoughts drifting toward them more often. You might catch yourself wondering how they felt in that moment, confessing so openly. You might feel an unexpected tenderness when you imagine them standing there, voice trembling, choosing truth over comfort. The universe wants you to know this. You are under no obligation to respond in a specific way. You are free. Your path is your own. But you are also invited. Invited to reconsider what you believe you deserve. Invited to question the walls you've built around your heart. Invited to entertain the possibility that this love story, however it unfolds, has been woven into your journey for a reason. Even if you decide that you do not feel the same way. Even if you realize that you are not ready. Even if you conclude that you love them, but in a different way. This moment still carries profound medicine for you. Because it proves, without question, that someone looks at you and sees more than just another person passing through. They see a reason to hope. They see a reason to become better. They see a reason to heal. And that is one of the highest honors the heart can receive. Meanwhile, your person is changing. The confession was not just an endpoint. It was a catalyst. Having spoken their truth, something awakened inside them, a deep, steady drive to become more aligned with the kind of partner they want to be, whether you ultimately stand beside them or not. They are beginning to take themselves more seriously. They're reflecting on their patterns. They're confronting their wounds. They're asking, maybe for the first time in a long while, what kind of life do I want to build? What version of me feels worthy not just of them, but of my own soul? You have become a mirror for them, too. Not by lecturing. Not by demanding. Simply by being. Your existence shows them what is possible. Your strength shows them where they want to grow. Your self-respect nudges them to stop accepting less for themselves. Your pain, the one you disguised from others, has touched their empathy and taught them more about compassion than any book could. This is how destiny often works when a true connection appears. You may not be together in the way people label it, and yet you are already transforming each other. You inspire their healing. They, in turn, will someday reflect back to you just how powerful your presence is. Soon, signs will start to appear around you. Maybe you think of them, and at that exact moment, their name pops up somewhere unexpectedly. Maybe you see a scene in a movie that mirrors your situation so precisely that you feel the universe winking at you. Maybe you overhear their name, or the story of their confession reaches you in pieces, like a puzzle slowly coming together. It won't be random. It will be a gentle, loving nudge from life itself, saying, "Pay attention. There is something here for you." Not a demand. An invitation. An invitation to lean into your intuition. To ask yourself, what do I truly feel when I think about them? What happens in my body? Does it contract with fear or soften with familiarity? You might notice a shift in how you see them, too. Maybe they always felt like a background character in your life, and now, the colors around them grow brighter. Maybe you've always cared, but you pushed it aside, convincing yourself it wasn't mutual. Now that you know the truth, your heart is allowed to come out of hiding. Or maybe you're sure that you don't see them romantically, and yet, even then, something in you opens, because to be loved this deeply, this respectfully, is healing in itself. No matter where you fall on that spectrum, something undeniable is true: you were never as alone as you thought. Someone has been carrying your happiness in their prayers. Someone has spoken your name with tenderness when you weren't there to hear it. Someone has whispered to the universe, "Please, protect them. Please, let them find peace. Please, let them feel loved, even if it's not with me." There is a strange kind of safety in that. Not the safety of possession. The safety of knowing that your existence causes love to grow in others. As this story continues to unfold, there will likely come a moment when you and this person have a chance to truly see each other again, not as the versions you once pretended to be, but as you really are. It might be a conversation. It might be a random encounter. It might be a message that begins with, "Can we talk?" and leaves your heart thudding softly. In that moment, you will feel the weight of choice. You will feel the presence of destiny, yes, but also the presence of free will. Because destiny can weave your paths together. But it is your heart, your healing, your courage that chooses what to do with that meeting. You may choose to step closer. To let them explain in their own words what their confession meant. To let them tell you how long they have quietly cared. To let them express not just their love, but their respect for your timing, your boundaries, your truth. You may find yourself confessing, too. Maybe not with the same words. Maybe not with the same drama. But with your own flavor of honesty. You might say, "I had no idea you felt so deeply," or "I did feel something, I just didn't think." Or, "I'm afraid, but I'm curious." You do not need a perfectly wrapped answer. You only need presence. Authenticity. Willingness. And if you realize that you are not ready or that your feelings simply do not match theirs, that is still sacred truth. The same courage it took them to confess is the courage it would take you to answer honestly, too. Because this story is not about forcing an outcome. It is about revealing hearts. Healing hearts. Honoring hearts. For some of you, this confession is the prelude to a love that will grow slowly and beautifully over time. Two people who once orbited each other at a distance finally moving into each other's gravitational field, learning each other's rhythms, fears, and dreams. For others, this confession is a turning point not toward union, but toward self-love. Toward realizing that yes, you are someone that people can fall deeply, soulfully in love with. And that if this person sees you this way, there will be others who do, too. No longer will you settle for those who only half choose you. No longer will you entertain connections that treat you like an option. No longer will you hide your light to make others comfortable. Because now you know, someone is already loving you in the way you once thought was impossible. Whether it leads to a shared life with them or not, it proves something essential: you are not too much and you are not enough. You are, in fact, exactly the kind of person a sincere heart would pray for. And yes, they have prayed. In the privacy of their nights, when the world is quietest, they have closed their eyes and lifted your name to whatever they believe in: God, the universe, fate, life itself. They have whispered, Please help them heal. Please let them feel safe. Please let them find joy, even if it's not with me. Sometimes they have cried thinking about the pain you've endured. Sometimes they have smiled imagining you laughing freely, unburdened by the weight you've carried. They do not just want you. They want goodness for you. That is how you know this love is not born of selfishness. It is born of reverence. My beloved soul, here is what destiny wants to gently place into your hands. You are standing at the entrance of a new chapter. Behind you are the days when you believed you were easy to forget, easy to replace, easy to overlook. Before you are days colored by the knowledge that your existence leaves a deep imprint on the hearts you touch. This does not mean you will never experience disappointment again. It does not mean every romantic story will suddenly be effortless. But it does mean, something has shifted at the level of your story's foundation. You have proof now that your energy alone, your presence, your way of being, is enough to awaken love this deep. As time goes on, you will see how this confession continues to shape you. Perhaps you will become softer, more open to the idea of giving and receiving love. Perhaps you will become stronger in your standards, refusing any connection that feels half-hearted compared to this sincerity. Perhaps you will look at yourself differently in the mirror, recognizing the person someone once said, "You are the reason I feel hope again," about. Your person, the one who confessed, is walking their own path of evolution. They are learning how to love not just you, but themselves, in a truer way. They are realizing that love is not simply a feeling, but a responsibility. A responsibility to grow. To heal. To become stable enough to hold someone's heart without dropping it. Whether you end up side by side or walking separate roads, know this: you have already changed each other's lives. Without signing any contracts. Without making any promises. Simply by crossing paths. Your story is not stagnant. The universe is not done. There are messages, conversations, synchronicities, and realizations ahead that will bring greater clarity. Clarity about what you want. Clarity about what you need. Clarity about what love means to you now, in this new light. As you move forward, hold this truth gently but firmly: you are loved. Right now. In this exact version of yourself, messy, imperfect, growing, healing, you are already loved more than you know. Someone has risked their comfort, their public image, their sense of safety to say it out loud. I love them. I pray for them. They are the one who makes me want to be better. Those words exist now. They have been spoken into the fabric of reality. They cannot be unsaid. They echo, even now, across the invisible thread that connects you. You may not have been in that room. You may not have heard them with your ears. But your soul felt something that day. Perhaps a sudden heaviness, a sudden warmth, a sudden unexplainable calm. Because at the deepest level, your soul recognizes when it is being called, when it is being honored, when it is being chosen. And, in its own time, in its own way, your soul will respond. Through your intuition. Through your choices. Through the way you allow yourself to be treated. The confession was not the climax. It was the opening of a sacred door. What walks through that door is up to you, and up to them, and up to the countless subtle movements of life that guide you both. But one thing is already certain, already sealed: you are not unchosen. You are not unlovable. You are part of a story where someone, in a moment of trembling bravery, stood among others and said, "I love them." Truly. Deeply. Fearfully. Gratefully. And even if nothing happens, I'm glad they exist. That is your reality now. That is woven into the tapestry of who you are. Walk forward with that knowing. Not as a burden. As a blessing. As a reminder. As a promise that the kind of love your heart longs for is not a fantasy, it is already here, already rising, already making itself known, already speaking your name out loud in rooms you have not yet entered. They confessed their love for you in public. And what they said was beyond what anyone expected. But what matters most is not just the shock of their words. What matters is the truth behind them. You are their hope. You are their prayer. You are their inspiration to rise. And now, my beloved soul, you are also being called to rise, to the level of love, worth, and destiny that has always been waiting for you.